Have you ever wondered what happens when arguably the wealthiest church on the planet gives billions of dollars out, and how people try to take advantage of this and actually slander the organization that is helping this much? We're going to talk about that today.
You're so handsome.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
We're back. Yeah, relaxing in Fredericksburg,
the hill country.
Texas. Yeah. It's actually a celebration of our anniversary.
Yep.
But we'll have another video on that. What do you think about Fredericksburg?
Really nice. It's kind of dead right now because it's winter time. It's super cold, like below freezing, but it'll get beautiful again, I'm sure. But it's nice to see hills. You know, we're used to just seeing tall buildings.
And it's very German. Hence the name. And we lived in Germany for 5 years. So a lot of the wording and so forth that's used in the town, very familiar.
Yeah.
So bringing back a lot of memories. But Germany is much greener than it is here. All right. Okay. So while we were on our way here to Fredericksburg, of course, we were driving and watching YouTube, but you shouldn't do this. We were watching a feed and, podcasts and stuff. One that came across was from someone that's actually in this same space that we're sort of venturing into, and that's Jasmine Raspsey. And she's much more experienced with this, and she's been doing this for a long time. She posted similar to like our little thumbnail. We actually got a thumbnail now. We're getting pretty fancy. And so she posted that this relationship between Latter-day Saints and Hamas. And so this was startling, as you can imagine. Maybe even you felt that when you watched that thumbnail. But in that, she explained that there are people in the Middle East that are actively trying to make a connection between the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and active terrorist groups. And so that was something quite alarming, because you would never associate the two, which would make total sense. However, when you look at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the fact that it's a global religion, and that it is as wealthy as it is, and that it gives, $1.5 billion in charitable donations and relief funds, that it can get maybe involved with organizations that might have ties to things that maybe you generally wouldn't support. And that's what these articles are all about. But maybe before we get into the details of that, maybe we can have Sarah, you can tell us a little bit about what does the church actually do, and kind of give a kind of feel for just how much the church is involved.
I've always known the church has been huge in the space of humanitarian aid, but I didn't know how huge until I actually went and researched it. And it looks like we're pretty high up there on humanitarian aid worldwide. Last year, we did $145 billion that we donated. And not just money, but like services and volunteer hours. We've helped 77 countries get clean water, 48 countries get immunizations, 43 countries get food, 143 countries get wheelchairs, 94 countries with neonatal care. And it's also, we help with vision and just all kinds of things like that, good Christian people should be involved in. And because we have the means, we are. And what's interesting is that in all the aid, we are the first on the scenes, typically before the Red Cross and the Salvation Army. We're there first. If there's a hurricane, like we experience a lot of those in Texas, because we have all the volunteers all in the area. It's our ward, right? Our congregation. We're all right there, and we're all happy to help. It's part of our culture.
Yeah. And when you look at the infrastructure and what the church has available to it, its logistics capability, it is really impressive. The fact that you have the warehouses, you have the land transportation, you have air transportation. All of these are all linked together using technology to be able to get humanitarian aid out to anywhere in the world within sometimes hours, days, to be able to get there, to be able to help whoever might need it. And sometimes, unfortunately, that can be taken advantage of. And so the church does as good a job as it can to make sure that those funds are being allocated to all the right places. Now, in that relationship, you will have the church, which will have its own sort of nonprofit entities or organizations that are affiliated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So some of those would be like LDS Charities and Humanitarian Services. You'd have the Perpetual Education Fund, the welfare program, which involves the bishop's storehouse and Sarah's favorite DI, or Deseret Industries. It's a nice little thrifting organization that you give in a lot of clothing and stuff, and then they repurpose it, and then they give it out to the needy. So we like that part.
Yeah, I love it. I love shopping for games and puzzles for my kids at school. As a teacher, you got to look for those deals.
Yeah, thrifting. Good job. All right, so you have these organizations, but outside of the nonprofit side, you have other companies out there that have been built up with proper visions and good intentions and so forth, that are also involved with helping to extend the reach of the church. And those companies are normally vetted very well, and they're able to work with the nonprofit entities of the church. And generally, all of that stuff works very well. Now, in relation to Hamas, or in relation to the Middle East, where the church gets involved is that it's not just working within the United States, it's not just working in Latin America or in the Far East, but in the Middle East, where you have a lot of volatility, you have a lot of people who are refugees and that are in need. This is a place where the church is trying its best to be involved at the ground level and trying to get its reach out there to try to support. However, in these areas, there can be people who are involved, also trying to help their own people, that may have views that are anti-Semitic or that are pro-Hamas. And so this kind of thing can ruffle some feathers politically and all over the spectrum. And so this is an area that a couple of articles that have been recently posted, where there are news outlets within the Middle East that are trying to connect the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to supporting, through these donations, Hamas and other terrorist organizations. And so these couple of these entities, one of them is Globus Relief is the name, and the other one is Lifting Hands. Now, all of these do have ties and have worked with the church in the past. Globus Relief, Lifting Hands, all these organizations are out there doing their best. However, they don't necessarily know everyone that they're involved with. And what's come up is that a couple of people within sort of the receiving arm of this have been very vocal on social media as far as their anti-Semitic rhetoric and with their support of some organizations like Hamas and sort of that anti-Israeli feeling. And so that part is where they're trying to tie these profit organizations like Globus Relief and Lifting Hands back to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But in fact, the church is not involved with any of them as far as talking with those individuals or giving to those individuals. They're just trying to connect dots all the way back to the church just to try to sell newspapers and get eyeballs on this particular situation. And so that's really unfortunate. Now, in one of those organizations, in the research that Jasmine did, she did find that in the Globus Relief organization, there was like not a conspiracy, but like an event that took place where the founder of it he
took advantage of his position and used the funds
like white
illegally.
Collar crimes, tax evasion and stuff like that. And so he was ousted, and unfortunately for that organization, the trust for that organization really fell off, and so they were no longer able to continue to fund or help in the Middle Eastern areas. But that's what is going on, and what is difficult, I think, for a church is that you do your best to try to help, and then people try to take advantage of it and somehow connect you as being bad. And that's unfortunate, because from an LDS perspective, we don't care if you're, what color skin you are, or what culture you come from, or what your ethnic background is. We just prefer to just help and be Christ-like. And that's something we're trying to give to all, regardless of which side of the aisle or which side of, a border you may be on. And so that is what is happening here, is that people are trying to take advantage of that generosity. And that's sad. I think that's sad.
It is.
And we actually, to be honest, we were a little concerned that getting into this space that we might tread on some people's toes, and get some hate back at us. And we kind of experienced that a little, to a small degree, when it came to the polygamy topic.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a big topic.
But
and haters gotta hate.
But some of these people that are out there that are much bigger, that are out there talking about these topics, they really can run into some issues where, they could find themselves in trouble with people. What do they call that when it's when they like smear them or like touch stuff?
Doxing.
Doxing.
Yeah, we don't want to get doxed.
I'm not actually sure what doxing is, to be honest. It's something. What is it?
They put your address out and like all your information and tell people to go hate you in person.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. I worry about that at least to some degree, that some people might, like say something that would be offensive to you, or I don't know, impact our business or something like that. But anyway, I guess that's a risk you take.
It's a risk you take for doing good. Apparently, there's risks for doing good on all levels.
For sure. Well, so anyway, that's an interesting feed that came across. Speaking of going to jail,
I haven't been to jail.
No, I'm not saying that. No, but when we were talking about this, we were talking about like taking it to a real extreme, where somebody could like, I don't know, like accuse us of something, and then we could like be found on the wrong side of something just because someone accuses us, right? It's possible, right? People like to sue people and that kind of thing. And then we were just talking about, oh my gosh, you
I don't like this story. I don't like this story.
Okay, so look, Sarah gets some headaches, right? Gets headaches, migraines. And so she gets injection, right? Injections, Botox injections, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so
here.
Now Sarah is absolutely 100% beautiful, no matter what. However,
he has to say that.
Yeah. However, well, I don't want to say you'd give the rest. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. I mean, I don't think it's funny for the person.
Okay, I'm going to talk like this for the rest of all my videos because I have always been very insecure about my chin. As you get older, and everyone's going to look at it for all the videos. As you get older,
I think she's beautiful.
You have volume loss, especially for thin people. It's in your face. You lose volume. And so that's what the doctor told me. So I got some work done on my chin. It's been over a year since I've had it done. Just last week, I think, I called and I said, I've got to get this done again. And the doctor wasn't answering me. And this is a doctor, by the way, we did not find we did not find him. He did have
he is actually he's a friend of mine.
We found him through a car.
My car.
A car enthusiast club. And so he was like, hey, I have a practice. If any of you guys, if your wives are interested, I will give you a super huge discount. And so we were like, and I don't like spending money. So I was like, discount? That sounds okay. Let's try it. Yeah. So we did. And I liked his work. He did a great job on me. And so I was trying to get a hold of him and no answer. So we contacted his practice.
Texting
and another doctor contacted us and said, he's in jail.
Yeah. And we're like, what?
Why he's not answering?
What? He's in jail? Now, we won't give out his name or anything like that. However, he does go by Mr. Injection.
Mr. Injector.
Mr. Injector. Okay, so you can do all the searching you want.
We looked it up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He was in jail for medical reasons, like
malpractice, and apparently didn't have a medical license.
Things from other countries that were not FDA approved and things like that. So
China.
That was embarrassing and surprising and like.
Yeah, we were shocked.
I'm so glad I turned out okay. I mean,
he
knew what he was doing.
I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
But some of the women that were interviewed on the news, because it was all over the news, right, when it happened. I mean, we didn't see it, but when we went back to research it, we saw it was all over the news. I mean, these women were coming forward and saying he butchered their faces and they just looked really bad. And so that was really a shock to us. Yeah. So we're going to do our best to stay out of jail. All right. So all of you, we love you. Okay. Don't slander us or dox us or any of those types of things. We're going to do our best. Crazy stuff. Yeah. All right. We will be back. We'll have another video that will kind of recap a little bit of our anniversary because it's been 26 years and we'll have some fun with that. Yep. What do you think? All right. Yep. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh. Again.
Same thing. Okay. I remembered the password.